Hi guys, this is a very interesting and exciting information that I become aware just now. And I said I have to share that with you. Now, a lot of people are very often questioning what's going to happen, when there is going to be the last split and how it's going to happen, whether the last investors are going to lose the money and so on and so forth. And I just become aware how nicely is going to be that path. And oh my god, so no worry at all, because as you see, always in our life, when we grow and then this growth slowly stops and then we just go into the step. I have mentioned it many times. The same is going by design. By design in Lana happen on its own. Right now, there is a big opportunity when the investors go and found Lana on a way with the splits, yeah? But as people are more and more having the lanas, they will more and more start to use lanas for payments because they don't lose paying with lanas anything. So otherwise you have to pay 30% of incentive or the discount, and here you don't get incentive, but you also don't pay for the discount. And of course the discount is bigger than incentive, so people have really no interest to pay with cash. And I have experienced that on my own way. So I'm really holding lanas before I'm spending or I'm changing into the cash. So I'm rather into the lanas than in the cash. Really, that happens, despite the fact that I'm also an investor. However, it is to me better because lanas are more valuable from that perspective. And I can always exchange them into the cash, but it's very hard to get them back, so even from the perspective, if I'm calculating, it's to me that's better approach. And the second thing is when I'm going and buying with Lana, it's a completely different energy. So I really like it. When I open my wallet, I start to how much cash I have in the wallet. When I go with Lanas, I don't think about that. So that is a second benefit, literally. And and then the third thing that I realize right now is that even the shoppers, so when the shop works with us and they earn lanas, they rather spend lanas when they need to buy with a distributor than a cash. Why? Because simple, they have lanas, they can turn it around, they don't lose on the discount, so they go and shop on the same way. So the chain is building on its own. So as the chain is growing and as we are using more and more lanas, we simply don't need any more money from that perspective. We are going to use euros, pounds, and all of that from the perspective of the reference, but not from the perspective of the exchange itself. So people are going to need less and less, or they are going to exchange for less and less lanas into the euros on its own. They are just going to rather to keep it and use it for the exchange comparing to take it. And everyone is going to be willing to take it because they know they can whether exchange it to the cash, whether put it further. So it's going to happen that by the design, now we can pour a lot of cash inside, but that is going to cool down on its own in some moment. So it's going to happen that right now the need to flow in with cash is quite is every time is large, of course, because we are growing, but that's going to reverse. In some moment that is going to reverse. First is going to stabilize, and then is going to literally reverse. So people will not go anymore into the cash because they will not need it, because the whole chain is going to be developed. So it's going literally to happen that there is going to end up on a way that Lanas and last splits are going to happen literally without fiat cash, because people are not going to need. There is going to be cash that is going to try to come into the Lana, but people just don't need that. It's like the same thing is like observing yourself. Having a need for something, but then from some reason, things changes in your life, and then you say, I just don't need that anymore, because I'm not anymore depend on that, and that can happen in many different ways. For example, you are driving the car with the petrol, I think, oh, what's going to happen when there's not going to be any more oil, and there are people that are already driving on electricity, and they're just saying, I don't need any more petrol, to me it's like out of the game, The same is going to happen also in Lana Vault with the cash. So right now, actually, it's a great opportunity to be investor, but this is going to cool down on its own. And we are going to have a lot of cash that is going or is willing to put there, but there's not going to be possibilities to exchange that into that. Even to some degree that was happening already in that sprint. It was not like everyone was giving Klanas into the sales, not at all, we have been planning 30,000 euros, but at the end is going to go 23,000. So all other Lanas can be redistributed on a different way. Or went into the Lana at Wonder, or went into the retail wallets and circling several times. So guys, I can see that we can completely relax from that perspective. How is that going to play out on its own without we actually needing to do anything? Just observe and enjoy, and things are going to sort on themselves out without any influence from our side, because it's going just to happen. That is a very beautiful thing. Have a beautiful day and enjoy. And yeah, so right now it is the opportunity to be investor. How many splits we are going to have this opportunity, nobody knows, And even at the end, what we are going to do with as an investor with all this money, I don't know. I suggest enjoy as you can spend it, in the moment when you are not going to be spend it, it's going to be for you also useless. But anyway, until then, the road is ours. But to me, what is the most important thing, that by the design, it cannot happen that people are going to lose money, because that creates the resentment and that destroys the energy. I think that we might use that to repay collectively the debts to each other, because there's still a lot of debts in fiat currency to each other. And I think that's going to create a massive opportunity for the ones who are going to be willing to play with that, they are going to actually serve double duty, helping other people and still earning through that. And that are still a lot of trillions to handle, Anyway, enjoy. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.